Didn't know today would be our last. That I have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk right through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, saying hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angel around the throne tonight.
Beautiful song to begin today's service. There's no surprises that the chapel is full today, certainly testament to how loved and respected Leigh was. If I could remind you, if you haven't already done so, to switch off your phones or pop them onto silent for the service, that would be much appreciated. Well, good morning everyone, and welcome, and thank you for being here. I know that Rhonda, Ashley, Lauren, and all of Leigh's extended family really do appreciate the friendship, the love and the support that surrounds them at this very difficult and sad time. My name is Gina Brakey, and it is an honour to have been invited to lead today's farewell. It is my hope that every part of this service will honour Leigh in a meaningful way and truly reflect the many things that made him the special and unique man he was. Well, firstly, to everyone in the chapel, welcome, and to those joining us via live stream, a very warm welcome to you all. I hope you also feel a part of today's service. There are some important family and friends that can't be here today, but we do know that your love and thoughts are with Rhonda and her family here this morning, so welcome. Well, it is with sadness that we are gathered together. but it is with grateful hearts we celebrate the life of Leigh Darren Roberts. A loving husband, father and father-in-law, a very proud papa, a loved son, brother, brother-in-law, uncle and friend. Today memories will be shared and you will all feel a sadness that Leigh is no longer a physical presence in your lives. However, in spending this time together comes the warmth of a life lived and a love and many friendships shared and memories that will live on long after we say farewell. Today, we simply give thanks for Leigh's life and we will honour his memory with this dedicated moment of warmth and much affection. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging those who meant the most to Leigh. He was the devoted and loving husband of Rhonda, very much loved father of Ashley and Lauren, father-in-law of Brett, a proud grandfather of Mackenzie and Eden. Leigh was also the cherished son of Dawn and Don, brother of Michelle, Glenn, Adrian, Nadine and Jennifer, and favourite son-in-law of Max and Helen. Along with their families and the many friends here today, you were all an important part of Leigh's life. As each of you here take this time to reflect on your own special memories, may you be warmly reminded of how much he has meant to so many. Well, 11 days ago, Leigh lost his battle with brain cancer, a battle he fought with determination and courage. His illness isn't what will define him, however, today. Rather, it is the special memories that you all have of what a positive, fun, hard-working, kind and decent man Leigh was. No matter how well each of you here may have known Leigh, our words today will never truly do him justice. Each of you here have shared different experiences with him. Each of you have known him in different ways, and there are many things you all have in common. In the years that you have known Leigh, your lives were surely touched by his incredibly kind and gentle nature, his hard-working ethic, his love of being outdoors, and his strength and determination which remained with him right to the very end. Leigh's selfless battle over the last few years was something his family was so proud of. He never complained, he simply wanted to focus on his family and he wanted to make sure that they were always okay. At just 57 years of age, there's no question that Leigh has left us too early. Today, however, instead of dwelling on the time we are missing with him, we must celebrate the fun, the laughter and the adventures that you've all shared. Leigh wouldn't want any of you to focus on the sadness of his passing. I know that's going to be hard. He was a practical man and he lived his life never wanting or needing a lot of fuss made of him. Rhonda mentioned a few times that she wanted today to be a day to remember the joy that Leigh has brought to your lives and truly celebrate that we have known him. Today's service will be a simple, heartfelt and sincere celebration of his life. While preparing for our service here this morning, I recently met with Rhonda, Lauren, Dawn and Don, and they shared with me their memories of Leigh and what he has meant to you all. In a moment, we will hear a few special tributes from special people, family and friends, but here is just a little of his life, of what his family remembered. Leigh was born in Tura, and as a young boy, he was mad keen on sports. Football, tennis, badminton, you named it, he loved playing it. His mum, Dawn, mentioned that Leigh didn't love school as much, although he was very good at mathematics. He left school to do some work, farm work and labouring. He learned how to shear from his dad, who was also a farmer, and Don also passed on the value of hard work, which remained with Leigh his whole life. Leigh's life changed in the best kind of way when he met Rhonda at the very romantic setting of the Wyong pub. Leigh was living with his parents, who lived next door to the pub, very convenient, and apparently Leigh was very popular with the ladies, often getting chatted up when he went out. Laura said that her dad told her as soon as he met her mum, Rhonda, Leigh knew that she was the one, and he broke a few hearts when they became enlightened. Leigh and Rhonda were married in 1988 and they moved to Hay, where Leigh worked on a farm. But a short time later, they moved to Bendock for Leigh to begin shearing again. They lived there for around 10 years. Ashley and Lauren were born while they were there, and they made some lifelong friends in the Bendock community. When the girls were young, the family set off on a 3-year working holiday living in a caravan. This was a real adventure for them all. Leigh found work shearing and Rhonda cooked for the shearers as well as homeschooling the girls. It was a great experience for them all, but eventually the fun had to end and they returned to Pambula. Well, Leigh had suffered a serious back injury through shearing and they made the decision to move to Bairnsdale, where he became Mr. Mum while Rhonda worked. The girls agreed that their dad was a better mum at some things like hairbrushing and cooking than their mum, and Rhonda did actually agree with that too. And they both loved him being at home taking care of them and their family. Leigh was very proud of his girls, and he was so happy that they were making good lives for themselves. One of his proudest moments was walking Ashley down the aisle at her wedding to Brett in March 2018. His smile went from ear to ear. The next happiest moment was becoming a grandfather. Little Mac and Edie gave him a whole lot of joy. Well, Leigh had a variety of jobs after being unable to return to shearing. He tried real estate, delivery driving, and before long he found his passion, repairing caravans. It was his thing. He repaired many locals' caravans. He was good at it, and it was something he really loved to do. In 2016, he started his own repair business, which had been a long-held dream of his. Well, other things that Leigh enjoyed throughout his life were fishing, with all the photos on the booklet and the front here. Obviously fishing, particularly surf fishing, which he developed at a very young age. He played competition pool, and he was mad about rocks. Leigh was a member of the local Lapidary Club. I had never heard of that before, I must admit, so there's probably a few of you here today. He loved cut gemstones and opals, and their home in Nicholson is surrounded by rocks. Leigh knew where everyone came from, and he would know if any went missing. His girls also remember how much their dad loved metal detecting on the beach. They used to join him under sufferance, but loved it when he found coins, which he would give to them as pocket money. Well, Leigh was also a very precise man. Everything had to be done just right. His dad told me that Leigh was very architectural in drawing plans, and he was meticulous in whatever job he was doing. Leigh loved to chat, which I'm sure everyone here would know. He would talk to anybody about anything, and Rhonda doesn't ever remember Leigh having a bad word to say about anyone. He was genuinely happy and content with his life, with his family and his friends. Well, sitting around the kitchen table, Leigh's family all remembered he had a great sense of curiosity, reading every word on every sign wherever he went, which often drove his family nuts. A few loves up the front here. He was inquisitive and was constantly interested in learning what was going on around him. He was also an eternal optimist, right to the very end. He didn't want anyone to feel sorry for him, and he didn't want any fuss made of him ever. He spent his last days listening to music with Rhonda, and he passed away peacefully at home, which was his wish. Well, there were so many good times to remember, and there are so many stories it was hard to capture. It will be hard to capture it all in such a short amount of time. That's just a very quick snapshot of Leigh's life, and clearly there are going to be so many memories to be shared today. And to begin our tributes, I would like to ask Adrian, Leigh's very proud brother, who's going to share with us a few memories of Leigh. Thanks, Adrian.
Good morning, everyone. And despite Leigh not wanting anyone to make a fuss of him, we're about to. It's a tough gig, so bear with me. First of all, thank you for coming to share and to farewell Leigh and to pay your respects to him and the life that he lived. Leigh was my oldest friend. He knew me all my life. And I knew most of his. Growing up in mostly rural New South Wales, not huge populations of people, you had to stay close to the people that were in your family. And we did that. You know, we hunted, we played footy, we played sport. I played cricket, he played tennis. Both played badminton, you know, whatever sport was going on in town, we were doing it. We fought ferociously sometimes. I remember a significant fight where I was losing and losing badly, and I looked down and there was a star picket and I grabbed it and I whacked him with it. Evened it up. Certainly everything was. The air went out of him, and down he went. And he looked up at me with murderous intent, and I bolted. And he's picked up the star pick and he's thrown it at me, and he's got me. Mum come out and to see what all the fuss was about, and with all the yelling and crying and screaming. And anyway, it looked like Leigh was the perpetrator, so she grabbed the strap pipe and she'd given him one, because that's what we got as kids. And he didn't say a word. He did not say a word. And when we finally got to the end of it, he lifted up his shirt and the big cracked ribs and whatever it was, and said, well, he started it. Right? That was Leigh, very much an understated name. We remained close when we moved, the entire family moved and we relocated to Lake's Entrance and then to Bairnsdale. It was next to the Wine Pub, handy for a couple of young fellas. And but we always dreamed of travelling and working throughout Australia. Leigh was fortunate enough and willing to do that, and did that through his shearing career. He spent 3 years travelling around Australia. He was tough. I mean, he was resilient and hard working. Leigh's success didn't magically appear to him. He had to work for every bit of it. As we said, at school he wasn't a gifted academic, but he worked bloody hard, always. Leigh was always a dreamer and an optimist. And the bigger the dream, the more likely it was going to be that it was going to happen. Because he just believed in it that much. Leigh would always look for the positive in a person or a situation. Everyone was a potential friend until you proved that you weren't. And even then he still wouldn't tell you. He just wouldn't be around you. He just wouldn't involve himself with you. Always fun-loving, always smiling, and ready with a really corny dad joke and a yarn. Getting him to shut up was the trick. We're similar in that respect. But yeah. Leigh genuinely liked people. All people. When injury forced him out of shearing, he was able to reinvent himself. So he had a dabble in real estate, property management. That didn't work for him. He tried being a car salesman there for a bit, and that was just a disaster. Leigh had really, really solid and unshakable values. Honesty, integrity, treating people fairly. And it just didn't sit with the car salesman gig. Like if someone come in and they said they had 20 grand, he'd eventually sell them a car for 18 and say keep the change. So the bosses were all saying, hang on, you've got to upsell, you've got to, look for the advantage and take it. Leigh couldn't. It was just anathema to him. He couldn't do it. Just couldn't be reconciled with his own values. So he got out of it. He then was able to get another job and took on an apprenticeship as an adult with the caravan repair business with John, which he then turned into a business of his own and a very successful one. But he, again, that work and the ability to connect with people, to be real with people, is what made that business successful, and the fact that he was prepared to work bloody hard. He was generous of spirit. He always had time for others. Community groups, involved with Scouts, the Laboratory Club. If there was a committee, he was probably on it. And he was prepared to do the work. If there was a way to help, Leigh was quick to get involved. Leigh was direct and blunt at times. My brother-in-law Andrew nicknamed him Jack Blunt for his sometimes tactful approach. Sometimes brutal honesty isn't well received. Later in life, Leigh managed to find diplomacy, which helped him succeed in business. I think very few people on the planet would have encountered Leigh and walked away with a negative opinion of him. He became a loving and devoted father to Ash and Laurie, and an adored grandfather, a papa to Mac and Edie. His partnership and marriage with Rhonda of 33 and a half years, a testament to the love they had for each other and the willingness to put the work in to make it successful, even when things were rough. We can't thank Rhonda enough for the joy she brought Leigh throughout all of those years, and the exceptional and courageous way that she's cared for Leigh in the last couple. Rhonda always supported Leigh to chase his dreams, and he had heaps of them. To the Greeley family, who truly adopted Leigh as their own, thank you for the love you had for Leigh. I know how much he means to you and how deeply you feel his loss. It's just not the Roberts families that lost people to. As a family and as a community, we've lost a truly beautiful human being. Wait to see. However, we're all better for having known him, whether briefly or for a lifetime. Our friend, brother, son, husband, father, grandfather, uncle, whatever he was to you. Leigh would not have wanted us sitting around moping or crying like I am. He would want us to optimistically go out into the world and continue to live life each day with joy in your heart and work hard to chase your dreams. Even in his last days, we were able to share a joke and a laugh and a bundy. His capacity for positivity was immense, even in the most dire circumstances. I am, and have always been, incredibly proud of my big brother. He was one of the nicest, fairest, and most gentlemanly men I've ever known. We'll remember him fondly and miss him terribly. Rest easy, Jack.
Thanks, Adrian. Now, Dennis Saxton. Where's Dennis? A few things he'd like to share. Thanks, Dennis.
Well done there, mate. Tell you what there, you've sort of made me sort of start to tear up a bit now. So make it sort of a bit harder for me too. Okay, so I'm in the Bairnsdale Lapidary Club. I've got a couple of words here first from Peter, who's another life member in our club. So I'll just read these first. On behalf of the Bairnsdale Lapidary Club, Leigh was a stalwart member, a true gentleman during his many years with the club. He oversaw many changes which have greatly benefited the club in the positions of secretary and moving on to be president after the passing of long-term serving President George Rawlings. His mechanical knowledge will be greatly missed by the club. Also working with others and the workshop maintenance officer, benefiting the many improvements to our clubhouse and machinery used on our workshop nights. The deepest condolences to Rhonda and family on the sudden passing. A very special person taken too soon. Thanks, Peter. Okay. I'm representing the Bairnsdale and every other lapidary club that knew Leigh. I'm also representing the PMAV, which is a Gold Prospecting Association. The word lapidary is of Greek origin and means working with stone. So the craft has been around for a while. Our local club formed 54 years ago. The club room was built by members approximately 30 years ago. Leigh joined the club when he was 45, well thereabouts, I sort of didn't quite exactly pinpoint that, in 2009. As a relatively young man compared to its existing members, whose age averaged 65, existing club members took an instant liking to Leigh. He had a certain charm and IT skills that were new to the club, which enabled it to grow and move forward into the new era. This led to his election as club secretary the following year, the position he held until 2015. Following this, he was elected unanimously as president until 2018. After all his work with the club, he was awarded a lifetime membership in 2021. Now, I had personally known Leigh through years earlier. Leigh worked for a local real estate mall, it's been mentioned. He was a rental inspector during the time that inspected a house my brother Jim was renting. When he turned up to the house, he found that my brother had dug a veggie garden and in it was growing tobacco plants. Not the yibby bean tobacco, real tobacco. They discussed the issue and Leigh said with a smile, "I can't see anything on your lease that says you can't grow tobacco. It all looks fine to me." I also knew Leigh through the local 8-ball association. He was pretty handy with the pool cue, and I know his pool team will be here today. I joined the Lapidary Club in 2017. Until then I had no idea that Leigh was a member, let alone president. Upon entering the club rooms on workshop night, I saw that Leigh there on the polishing wheels, working on some opal. I did notice for the next 10 Thursdays in a row that he was working on opal. I quickly realised that he had opal fever. He loved his gold prospecting and other gem-related stones, but his favourite was opal. The club has monthly field trips where we look for fossils, crystals, anything made of rock. Martha Vale Hut at the headquarters of the Nicholson River was one trip I'll never forget. Leigh came with me in the Rodeo ute, putting his sieve and shovel and pick in the back. He forgot his waders, so I lent him mine. However, there was a small problem. The waders were 2 sizes too small for him, and there was a hole in the leg up near the crotch, which he never noticed until he slid right down the riverbank and into the water. The water was freezing and his voice rose 2 octaves. In those conditions, 15 minutes was more than enough panning time. With only one small speck for all his efforts, he started removing the waders. It being too small and with a wet crotch, that had created a suction effect to his leg, he was struggling and they would not come off. He laid on the ground and Glennis came to his rescue, helping him remove them. Where was I while all this was happening, you ask? Someone had to record it and I was behind the camera. When we got back home, Leigh looked for his car keys. They're not in his pocket or his bag. He looked on the car floor and under the seat. They were not there. Now, he only had a Leigh look. That's a look, but not a real look, because my son found the keys under the seat 2 weeks later. However, at the time, Leigh thought they must be back at Martha Vale, where he struggled with the waders. He and Rhonda drove back to Martha Vale the next weekend to look for them, but he never found them. However, there were positives. Leigh did find his keys in the end, and he and Rhonda got to spend some quality time together going to Martha Vale. Now, the last little piece. Now, Leigh has joined a new club. It's called the Pearly Gates Lavatory Club. A very exclusive club, and any one of us who gets to join this club in the future can look forward to catching up with him there. I know what he will be working on. You guessed it, open. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. That was awesome. And obviously, when Adrian spoke and Dennis got up, he said he was choked up. We were all choked up. But well done to you too, Adrian. I did mention that because I was choked up too. Yeah, your memories of the brother were awesome. So these tributes are really beautiful, and they're really tying the sort of person that Leigh is in together. So thank you for sharing them. Next, we have Maggie Griffiths. Where's Maggie? She's got a few things she'd like to share with us today. Thanks, Maggie.
Leigh could and did talk to anyone. Going fishing involved stopping and speaking to every other person on the beach. Leigh was the person that people spoke to once and came away thinking, he's a great bloke. And he was a great bloke in so many ways. Whatever Leigh was doing, he was completely in the moment, curious and committed. Whether it was metal detecting, gemstone hunting, fishing, playing pool, or anything at all to do with caravans. Leigh was happy to teach others these skills, and he was incredibly patient. The untangler of many fishing lines with only the occasional eye roll. This being in the zone meant that he could disappear for hours on end up on obscure bush tracks, and occasionally require rescuing. But Leigh always came home happy and enthusiastic, ready to relay every fossick, every pool game, or the one that got away to Rhonda and his girls. And if anyone here today has not had a caravan story from Leigh, I'll be amazed. That ability to enjoy the moment made even a recent bad day by anyone else's standards a good day to Leigh, because he spent it listening to music with Rhonda. Leigh always looked out for people with kindness, whether that was helping Max and Helen with whatever their current project was, or taking them travelling, to helping Cheryl's mum with her luggage in Italy, to walking my mum home from the campfire at Crooked River. If there was a way to help people, he did. Even when he was sick, he always cared for others, checking how they were. His focus was outwards, never feeling sorry for himself. Leigh adored his girls. He was the gentle hairbrusher, the creator of crazy hairstyles, the dad and popper who could fix or build anything, and the teller of jokes to make everyone laugh. That love and sense of fun extended to Ash and Laurie's friends and to his nieces and nephews. All present were included in hugs or the goodnight kiss on the forehead. To Michael and Emma and Maddie and Tom, Leigh was more than an uncle. He was an encourager, a rock-solid support, an occasional ass kicker when needed. Mainly Michael and Tom. Over the years, Rhonda has set herself some ambitious and sometimes out there goals, and Leigh always had her back 100%. And he encouraged and enabled her and the girls to follow their dreams. They returned this support over the last 2 years, and Leigh's legacy is giving Rhonda, Ash and Laurie more strength than they ever thought they could have. Leigh was genuine and loyal. To be in his circle was a wonderful thing. There was always love and laughter, and I'm so grateful for all the times that we laughed till we cried. Grief is a friend we wish we didn't know, but that we have to spend time with because love brought them to the party. And Leigh, the party was totally worth it.
Thank you, Maggie. Beautiful, beautiful words there. Lee's family found a beautiful poem to share today. It's on the inside cover of your order of service, and his big sister Michelle is going to share it with us tonight. Thanks, Michelle.
Leigh, I heard your voice in the wind today, and I turned to see your face. The warmth of the wind caressed me as I stood silently in place. I felt your touch in the sun today as its warmth filled the sky. I closed my eyes for your embrace, and my spirit soared high. I saw your eyes in the window pane as I watched the falling rain. It seemed as each raindrop fell, it quietly said your name. I held you close in my heart today. It made me feel complete. You may have died, but you are not gone. You will always be a part of me. As long as the sun shines, the wind blows, the rain falls, you will live on inside me forever. For that is all my heart knows. Thank you, Leigh.
Thank you, Michelle. Now I have some very special tributes to read out on behalf of Lee's girls. First is from Ashley. Dad, how lucky I am to have called you by that name. But you will be always so much more than a father to me. You are my teacher, my supporter, my guidance, and my friend. When I think of you, I will remember to be gentle and patient, kind and generous. I will remember to give people my time and my help. I will love wholly and smile every chance that I get. I will feel you in the warmth of the sun and touch of the breeze. I will hear you as the river runs and the birds sing. And when life is at its stillest calm, I will seal the memories you gave to me. I will carry your traits and your lessons with me because you are part of who I am. I love you always, Dad. How lucky I am to have called you by that name. And a tribute from Lauren. How do you summarise the man you admire most in this world into a few paragraphs? These words will never do true justice to all he taught me, all the memories we created, and all Dad was to me. He was not simply a dad, he was a protector, a provider, a sounding board, and a comedian. He was loving, gentle, kind, patient, steadfast, and enduring. He was always happy to be where Mum, Ash and I were, and later Brett, Mac and Edie, and to be involved in whatever we were doing. It didn't matter what it was. He always made time for our family, not just on weekends, holidays and birthdays, but every single day. He always said our greatest tool as a family was the dining table, to sit and talk about our day, to connect and be present with each other. Dad was the one that I went to when I just wanted someone to listen, when there was no advice that could be given and no solution to be found, someone to simply share the load with. He had his own language, spoken in coy smiles, sly winks and the wiggle of his eyebrows. You could nearly have the whole conversation with him from across a room with nothing more than facial cues. I saw what it was to be a good husband. I watched him love Mum every day. Dad has set the standard for any future partner I have almost impossibly high. He taught me love is something that should be shown every day and should flow into your gestures. Dad showed his love in his bear hugs, the ones that cracked your spine, and the kisses he dropped on your forehead. Kisses he gave me every morning before he left for work and every night before bed. The small comfort I have in saying goodbye to Dad today is that he left this world knowing that I loved him and I know that he loved me. I cannot count the things he was, not just to me, but to everyone here today, or the ways in which I will miss him. All I know is there is a giant 6'2" hole in my life that I take with a wide grin and a hearty laugh. Dad, thank you for making me who I am and for being the best dad imaginable. I will love you always. Now, fittingly, I think it's fitting to share Rhonda's tribute last. She has written some beautiful words. And immediately after I finish this tribute, Stephen is going to cue in the photos. Leigh's family have chosen some beautiful photos to share with us today. It's a lovely trip down memory lane. So Rhonda's tribute will lead into the photos. Beautiful man cub. You met me as a girl, shy and uncertain and lacking confidence. For 35 years you loved me every single day. You loved me on the good days and you loved me on my bad days. You loved me on the days that I wasn't very lovable, and you loved me on the days I didn't love myself. You always had more confidence in me than I had in myself. You made me laugh. You were the straight man for all my jokes. You were my son, and you let me orbit around you, holding me steady without anything but your love. You gave me beautiful girls and helped me raise them to be beautiful women. You loved my family as yours. You loved your extended family. You were honest, steadfast, and you were so very loyal. You always wanted to be in any madcap adventure I planned, happy to sail around in an Elvis suit or a dress, happy to be in the middle of a hens weekend, just happy to be with us, whatever we were up to. You went to work for us. Whatever you wanted always came after what we wanted. You smiled and laughed and you loved your way through life, and then you smiled and laughed and loved your way through dying. You made it easier for us to face the reality of your diagnosis. It was impossible to be scared about the future when you were always so positive every single day. At the end, when life was pretty grim for you and you had already given up so much, you were still grateful for the days. Grateful to sit quietly and hold hands. Grateful for us. Grateful to your family and your friends. Even as my heart breaks, I feel nothing but blessed, and I feel very, very lucky to have been loved by you and to have made a life with you. I will forever love you and know that the world was better because you were in it. Love never dies, so you will forever live here with us. Please enjoy this photo presentation.
Well, I'm finally aware life is anything but fair. You left us in the middle of the night, and there's times I hear your voice breaking through the noise, telling me you're sorry and that it's gonna be coming down to tell me I'll be seeing you again. Singing goodbye, my angel man. Goodbye, my angel man. No, I love you forever. Saying, oh my God, this world will never be the same. This world will never be the same as you were my friend.
You said I was in my early 40s with a lot of life before me, and a moment came that stopped me on a dime. I spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays, talking about the options, and talking about the sweet time. I asked him when it sank in that this might really be the real end. How's it get you when you get that kind of news? Man, what you do? He said, I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Blue Magic, and I loved deeper, and I spoke sweeter, and I gave forgiveness I've been denying. And he said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying. He said I was finally the husband, and most of the time I wasn't. And I became a friend wouldn't like to have. And all of a sudden, going fishing wasn't such an imposition. And I went 3 times that year, I lost my dad. Well, I finally read the good book, and I took a good long hard look at what I'd do if I could do it all again. And then I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Blue Magic, and I loved deeper, and I spoke sweeter, and I gave forgiveness I've been denying. And he said, someday I hope you get a chance to live like you were dying. Tomorrow was a gift.
special memories here. Certainly a man who loved to have fun and have a laugh and dress up, as you mentioned earlier, and yes, and very, very special memories that we will cherish. So, on that note, I know that everyone here today has memories and stories of Leigh and what he meant to you all. And a lovely way to continue celebrating his life, which is exactly what we're doing today, is to join Rhonda and her family at the RSL when we finish today. I know that that's where Leigh's family are headed, and they warmly invite those of you who are able to join them at the RSL, which is just down the road here, as it's a great chance for you to catch up in a less formal setting and share all the funny stories and beautiful memories of Leigh with his family. I know that they would love you to do that if you could. Well, today's service has been a meaningful way to pay tribute to Leigh, and the memories, the tributes and the photos shared today make up just a small part of the sort of person he was to you all. Each of you here will remember the good and fun times you spent with him, the things that you have learned from him, and the memories that you have to keep close to your heart. We are united in our sadness today, but we are also warmed and comforted by our memories and of the impact that Leigh has made in your lives. Leigh shared love and special friendships, which is obvious by today's attendance, and I'm sure if he could, he would thank each and every one of you for being such an important part of his life. Well, the hardest part of losing someone isn't having to say goodbye, but rather it is learning to live without them. Leigh's family will never feel the void in their lives now that he is gone. However, they are lucky to have the love and support of so many who will help heal their hearts. There are so many people and friends to thank, too many to single out today, but please take this as a personal thank you for the calls, the messages, the flowers, the cards and the outpouring of love. It is appreciated more than words can say. Rhonda is especially lucky to be surrounded by her loving friends and family who have been and will continue to be a great support. After taking some time on their life together, I hope that she can take comfort in the memories she and Leigh have created, and I feel sure she is most grateful that she got to share 35 special years with him by her side. Well, as some people journey through life, they leave footprints wherever they go, footprints of kindness and love, inspiration and joy. Even though Leigh has gone, we can still look back and clearly see the footprints he has left behind, and we will remember that his life was one of value and purpose, and it was filled with great love and joy. Today has certainly been a day for fond and loving memories, and will be remembered for many reasons, but mainly I hope it will be remembered by you all as a very special day in which you were able to pay your last respects and say a fond farewell to a man whom you were all privileged to have known. Leigh was never one to be in the spotlight, although some of those photos I beg to differ. But today has certainly been his day to be remembered fondly and most proudly. Leigh, we thank you for the beautiful memories, and may your spirit rest in eternal peace. Thank you again for being here today, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Why'd you have to leave so soon? Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me when I needed you the most? 'Cause I don't really know how to tell you without feeling much worse. I know you're in a better place, but it's always gonna hurt. Carry on. Give me all the strength I need to carry on. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way tell you till the day you're home. Carry on, give me all the strength I need to carry on. So let the light guide your way. Hold every memory as you go.
Yeah.